You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective. Texas grown, people powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. This is Grassroots Collective. Thank you for joining us again tonight. I'm here with my co-host Jen and Chastity, and we are joined with a special guest, Sarah Stogner from Ward County District. She's the Ward County District Attorney, and that is for Texas 143. She's been known for her bold civil disobedience and challenging outdated cannabis laws and old Republicans. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
All right.
Calling Dan Patrick a boomer.
I mean, where's the lie?
Is a boomer.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just shoe fits.
For real.
Sarah, I am so excited to talk to you. I don't know if I fangirled out enough before we came on, but I am a huge fan. And for my audience who watches, we know where I am politically. So for me to be as excited about you as I am is probably really weird for some people. But let me tell you, this is why I got into this thing, was to show that we are people. Okay. Sarah, what I want to know is what made you decide to get into running for politics in a community like Ward County in Texas oil country? What made you want to run for DA there?
Man, it is a long story, but I'll try to make it. Let me give the brief version. So I was a civilian Army brat. I grew up all over. I lived in Florida, California, Alabama. I went to LSU for undergrad and law school, met a boy, stayed, was a lawyer in New Orleans, got rid of a boy, met a different boy, had a baby with the boy. He was in oil and gas. I was an attorney. He got relocated to Midland. I moved out there with him in 2017 or 18. And then in 2021, we were getting separated. And I came out and started living on this cattle ranch. And about 10 days later, an old Chevron well came unplugged. And so I had been an oil and gas lawyer representing oil and gas companies, suing insurance companies. And all of a sudden, I'm standing here with a unique set of skills and knowledge, understanding that we've now been injecting produced water too much and it's causing these old wells to fail, and started suing Chevron. And then about a few months into that was like, oh, it's Chevron and the Railroad Commission. They'll do the right thing, which is, again, so naive. And I was like, oh, no, they don't give a shit. And so I decided to run because I was like, I can do a better job than these asshats. And why not? And then quickly was humbled to realizing, oh, if you don't have millions of dollars, you cannot be competitive in Texas. And if you're not right now, currently, right, on a Republican statewide ticket, you're not getting elected to office. Now, That's what they used to say in the 90s, too, when the Democrats ran it. And people like Suzanne Bell Snyder that we were talking about right beforehand, that's a Republican operative up in the Panhandle, and a wonderful lady who, like me, is just so frustrated of like, what happened to the small government, fiscal responsibility, free slave Republicans that like we came from?
Yes.
And that it's a duopoly run by oligarchs. And so they asked me to run for DA, and I was not at all interested. I was like, no, guys, I'm doing this oil thing. And, you know, God has a way of just putting the doors that need to be opened. They keep knocking, and the door that you want that's locked, he's like, nah, you know, you can keep trying or you can listen and go to the door. And so after being asked repeatedly, the only thing that really could get me off of oil and gas wells was raping children. And I just saw that they were not prosecuting child sexual assault cases. And so we're putting rapists in prison.
Yes. Thank God for that. Thank
It's
God for you.
on TikTok because it's silly. And they opened this door in 2018 with the Farm Bill and 2019 in Texas of like, practically speaking, you can't enforce, because you can't tell the difference between marijuana and hemp. Because it's all part of the cannabis plant, right? And then you like tell them about how flower is live and actually changes. And so if you test this flower I mean, look, I've got like this book sitting here, right? I've got like it's oil and gas and cannabis books. If you were to actually like zoom in,
That's the future of Texas right there.
Yeah.
I keep telling people, I'm like, now listen, guys.
Yes.
We could take all this produced water, we could recycle it, man, and then we could use it to grow hemp, because hemp actually is really resistant to salt and some of the other anyways. I've been saying it's coming. I am manifesting out here in the desert.
Please, yes. That actually brings me to my next question, which was, I understand that you really can't get very far without a whole lot of money or a viral moment. So why don't you tell us about the oil derrick stunt?
Okay, so when I was running for railroad commission, I realized quickly I didn't want to take money because I didn't want to be beholden to anybody, and you need millions of dollars, like $10+ million if we're being honest. And decided, it was right before the Super Bowl, and I was like, I could make my own Super Bowl ad and go viral and like cause attention. Like if I can just get their attention with my tits, then we can bring it back down and start talking about the real issues. Like I think I can transition. And so we would actually been filming a documentary. And so one of the photographers had said, I've always dreamed of photographing a cowboy on top of a pumpjack. And I was like, oh, well, I'm a good New Orleanian girl. I've got a plastic tub full of pasties and false eyelashes, and like, let's go do this thing. Like, let's go create some art, man. And so I'd had this footage for months, because that was like October timeframe. And then come February, and I just said, okay, I'm going to put together, I just need how it is. If you know the algorithm and a little bit of how it works, you need a few seconds, you need to grab their attention, and you need it to be on repeat where people are like, what the over and over and over. And so it was like, I think it was maybe a 5 or 6 second video. And I'm sure if you Google Sarah Stogner half naked on a pumpjack, it'll come up, right? I mean, there, and it went international. It worked. And people were like, were you scared? And I was like, yeah, I was scared of nobody noticing it. Like I wasn't scared of it going viral. That was the goal.
Yeah,
that was scared of like 300 views and 4 likes.
You're like, damn, I got more views yesterday.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You're a girl after my own heart. That's
I wish I had the absolute cojones to just decide, just do it. Like, what have you got to lose?
Literally.
Realistically, you'd right. You're a privileged white girl, not much.
Yeah. Really, truly.
Let's be honest.
I say that a lot. Like, this gives me a platform that a lot of women don't have, and I'm very, very aware of that. And so there's no point when I will stop talking about issues that affect people who don't look like me, because I have the ability to say something when they don't.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. If you see something, say something, right? And evil happens when good men do nothing. Like the quotes continue. Like, we know the drill, guys. And women together have been,
oh my gosh,
the secret weapon, right? I got into a debate the other day with my mom about the Bible, and I'm like, Mom, God doesn't care about marriage. He cares about love. And guess what? He gave women marriage because back in the day, that's all they had. They didn't have equal rights. They didn't have voting. They didn't have they were property. Like,
yeah.
No, they had,
and it's been bastardized by people like Robert Morris, right? Who are like, ugh. Like that's not action, that's not Christianity, right? Like it's, and so I'm really tired of these powerful, rich people having the monopoly on people's attention and ability to call out hypocrisy, right?
Yeah,
and
100%.
to make things better. And like, I think as a society, cannabis is a perfect example for, we've been lulled into just giving a little bit more. And when I finally realized, I'm like, it's a plant. Has any, and people,
Yeah,
if
like
you've never
people-
been on a farm or a ranch, right, and appreciated how difficult it is to freaking grow your own tomatoes or have your own eggs or your own beef or your own pork or your own whatever,
Mhm.
like, yeah, bitch, try to grow that good bud. And
Yeah,
you go
man.
ahead. Like,
Yeah.
you
Right.
try to do what people that are trained and have all of the technology, like, do it. And
Yeah.
but there's no money in that, right? Then you're not reliant on pharmaceuticals, and then you're not drinking as much beer. And oh my gosh, heaven forbid that, yeah, we can eat it and
Have a
Not
good
better.
time.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
what the heck made you decide to live stream yourself?
Again, I just wanted to go viral.
Okay, so tell
And I
me.
knew, there was that guy that ran for office in Louisiana that had smoked a blunt, I think. He was running as a Democrat, obviously, in New Orleans. Then you had a lady named Sally Duvall who was running as a Democrat in Texas, who I think she'd recorded herself doing a formal, but TikTok is real anti.
Yeah.
cannabis.
Yeah.
And so I knew I wasn't going to get any traction. I knew it was going to be like, warning, you're violating all the terms and conditions. Like,
Yeah.
And it was funny because the AI even picked up like the video that you can actually see on my TikTok, Sarah for Texas. I got like ahead of myself. Is what the AI from TikTok picked out as the clip, and it's me talking about packing my pre-roll. It's not me actually smoking it. And the picture that I have of me actually smoking it is because my best friend was great enough to be on the live and actually screen record, right?
Aww.
So that I had something to memorialize it, because I didn't have a full recording of the event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're very grateful that you did what you did.
Yes.
Thanks. I mean, they're like, are you going to do it again? I'm like, yeah, I mean, same time, same place. I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
So
Join me
all
tomorrow.
we all got together over hemp and the war on hemp in Texas. That's how we all met. I have a dispensary and a school. I have a master's in pharmaceutical science, specializing in cannabis. And so I have a dispensary, and then I also have a school where I teach people about cannabis. And then Tobar is a veteran, and Jen is a consumer. Claire is a consumer, but she also, I think she works for some of the dispos too. And so that's how we kind of all found each other. We're all just Instagram, TikTok personalities, I guess, and then ended up finding our way into stuff, and then we ended up doing this. So do you believe that the social media has raised that awareness? Do you think that that's what is responsible for the stopping of the SB3 and SB4 and SB5 and SB6? Do you think that if we as a collective stopped it, or is that they just gave up?
No, I think, if we're being brutally honest, I think Greg Abbott has better staff than Dan Patrick does.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Abbott's staff is in touch with Trump's staff, and Dan Patrick should be too. I mean, right? Like, if you are in back rooms of any political discussion right now, the future is cannabis. The battle is whose purse strings are going to get to continue to manipulate and bastardize this. Yeah. And it's like, these dumbasses didn't understand the plant when they regulated it in 2018. They've created a loophole, and now they've got a takings issue where people like you have relied to now their detriment if they were to try to go and make this illegal, which is, nobody wants it to be illegal. Like, right. So you've got all this political pressure. And I think it's finally this nice little trifecta of logistical reality with political climate. And yes, when like the 120,000 letters showed up, and I'd like to take a little bit of credit, right? It's like, yeah, when an elected Republican district attorney is like, this is dumb, because it is. And instead you've got the paid shill of law enforcement up there. That is not law enforcement that represents law enforcement. Like, right. I have law enforcement in my phone, like, we're having these conversations.
Yeah.
It's just infuriating. And it's just like the oil and gas wells I was in the oil and gas industry. And when I got in there and was like, oh, I understand what's happening, we can take a logical approach to something that may be tactically a little bit more difficult. Well, guess what? Yeah, our lives are a little bit more difficult, that the smell is no longer PC. Sorry, do your job.
I heard you talking in another interview, you had discussed the fact that for the most part, these laws aren't even enforced.
They're selectively weaponized. I mean, look at a month ago, the black guy that's a rapper in Dallas got arrested, had a gun, had a
Yeah.
blunt.
And it was a small quantity, right? Like it was a very small quantity.
Maybe a couple ounces. It was within the misdemeanor amount.
So
Yeah.
did you get any kind of backlash, I guess, from at all from, I guess, smoking a joint on, like, from your colleagues and stuff like that? Like, how was that perceived?
Yeah, everyone's been very supportive except for a couple of elected sheriffs that I think just don't get it yet. And I'm hopeful that if I'm like, guys, I'm giving them benefit of the doubt that they just really want to follow the law and think that it's a bad example, that I think I might be above it.
Mhm.
And that's not at all the message I was trying to send, right? The message I was trying to send is everyone's doing it all the time. You're selectively weaponizing it, right? And that's a problem under the Constitution. If you care about the Constitution, that should be a problem for you too. And we've got real crimes to prosecute. Cannabis is a plant. People should be able to grow it in their backyards. They should be able to buy it in a reputable dispensary. They should be able to have access to people that understand the chemistry and the body's own, endogenous
endocannabinoid system.
Yes, and all of the things.
Yeah,
it's just really frustrating. Yeah.
What do you think about? I don't know if you heard this morning, but the Texas Tribune reported that Greg Abbott is going to there's rumors of him signing an executive order that'll age gate THC. It'll set a distance between where a dispo can be in
schools.
Yeah,
an executive order as opposed to going through.
Yes, it came out today. I
mean, that sounds like something they might do.
So it's on. Let me see what
like many dictators these days. I don't know.
Yeah, because my thing was like, why would he go through two sessions, and then all of a sudden just say, I'm just gonna.
It's a dick measuring contest with Dan Patrick to be like, fuck you, Dan, you didn't listen. I'm gonna do it this way.
And it's funny.
Because it doesn't really matter, right? Like, how does that really change the law?
I don't
exactly. I mean, I think that the people that are the good actors in this industry are already doing that. We've already been doing that this entire time.
Yeah.
We all realize that this is perceived as a drug, and just like alcohol, that it should not be in the hands of children. And we are already self-regulating ourselves. We've been doing that.
Yeah.
The people, if there are people that are not doing it, I don't know anybody that is not doing that. But if they are not doing that, then they're just shitty human beings. Like, I don't know what else to say about that.
Still, I would argue that they're still liable in tort law. That if something bad happens from a product that they sell to someone who's not of age, that they're responsible.
Exactly. And we argued about this the entire time during SB3. People. The bottom line is I've heard Perry say multiple times, this was not intended to be something that was consumed, yet Texas gave consumable hemp licenses from the start, right?
That's what I'm saying. They didn't know what they were doing, but they did it.
Exactly.
Because that's better.
And
I'm getting red. I'm like getting mad thinking about it. They're heating up.
There's not.
It's so frustrating how stupid it is.
Exactly. Like, what if a kid is going into a dispensary? They're going into a dispensary with an adult, right? Kids don't have driver's licenses. They can't drive themselves to dispos. Why are parents? If there were a parent that were doing that, why are you driving your kid to the dispensary?
No, kids are getting it black market.
Exactly.
Like a lot of other people
Out
are
of
getting
the trunks of cars. They're getting it out of the trunks of cars. It's being delivered by the plug on TikTok. It is not coming from a legitimate dispensary.
Nope. We've got these little mini cartels in the high schools, and they're getting it online. They're getting the rejects from the regulated states like Colorado, California, Oregon, Washington. We're getting all their rejects.
Yeah. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, you don't understand that the actual industry is the black market. Like, if I have $50,000 worth, a $50,000 grow right here, and I harvest all this and I put them all into disposable vape pens, and then I send them in for labs, and I test 0.0001 over the heavy metal or what microbial or whatever the limit is. I legally have to destroy all that, and I can't have any insurance on it. I can't get insurance on it. So if I destroy it, then I've lost all of this money, right? That's not what happens. I take it out of my inventory, show it as destroyed, and then I send it to a third-party wholesaler or some dude that's in my back alley, and then he's going to part it out all over the country and say la vie, we hope that nobody gets hurt and nobody gets sick, but it ain't coming back to me because that QR code that looks like a real product because it has my brand name on it is not a real product anymore. It is a disposed of product. So the regulated actual industry is the black market. And people just don't understand that. People that own dispensaries today are buying these rejected products from the legal industry and bringing them into their stores because that wholesaler got a deal, right? And you're not actually scanning that QR code and making sure that that label is tracing back to an actual COA at a verified lab. Then the entire industry is the black market. Right. And so we have to make sure that the people that are in this industry are regulating themselves and doing these things, following what they believe are the right laws and the right directions that are not imposed by the state. Like
Right.
if you're in the industry, you should know what you should be doing.
Right now it's just this quagmire of gotchas.
Yeah.
And people trying to do the best they can, but you're getting screwed on taxes. You're like, it's terrible. And so we need more people, I think, to step up and be like, guys, we're having the wrong discussion, right? It's not about teacup. It's not about hemp versus marijuana. It's not about THCA versus what, like everyone needs to get back onto it's the plant bandwagon and it's us versus them. Because you already now have big corporate interests that are in the industry.
Yep, it's
And
big Canada now.
Right? And so you've already got all these guys with their little grubby hands in the pot. And until we get home grow, and I keep thinking, I'm like, okay, how can we message this? Right? Like, how can you simplify it? And I keep saying it's somewhere between tomatoes and vodka. Like, we need to make sure that we don't go the route of like the alcohol craziness of if you can't buy it and grow it and distribute it. And like, no, I imagine that there could be like a Chick-fil-A chain of dispensaries someday of like, that's my brand that I like going, you know what I mean? It's like, farm to market, you know, whatever.
My husband has been dreaming of a pack of Marlboro Green since he was 13 years old.
Man, I know. Same.
That's where we're coming to that, right? Like we all want that, but not because you don't want it regulated in the exact same way, right?
Right.
Like, but we can learn lessons, I think, from all these other types of industries that have come before us and been like, okay, we can learn lessons and do better as opposed to the same old that people that are already entrenched in power want to keep.
Well, and that's kind of what's so frustrating about this situation specifically is we've done this as a country before. We have had alcohol prohibition where you would go to your local bar and you didn't know if you were getting bathtub gin or something that was safe to drink, and people died. So is this not counterintuitive in that you are essentially creating an environment that is rich in the black market products that are more likely to kill people than just to regulate it and monitor it and make sure it's safe?
I mean, sensible regulation. That's where, I mean, and that's, I'm with you. If we're taking all of our donors' money, if I'm taking big pack alcohol money and I'm taking pharmaceutical pack alcohol money and I'm doing what they want to do, because that's what benefits them, that's where we're going to get to where we're at. That's what runs the entire world.
They want to reschedule, right?
And we don't want rescheduling. I keep telling people, everybody's like, if they're going to deschedule it to Schedule 3, and I said, how many FDA approved joints do you think are on the market? 0. How many pharmacists do you know that work at dispensaries, that own dispensaries? 0. How many bud tenders do you know that have a pharmaceutical tech license? 0. How many doctors do you know that know how to prescribe cannabis? Zero. If they deschedule, we will have a whole nother prohibition. It's just another way to prohibit cannabis. We don't want descheduling. We want decriminalization. We do not want to be criminalized for a plant.
But I think it can be simultaneous, right? Like, I think you can legalize.
We can have regulation with decriminalization, but we can't have descheduling.
Oh, I think it should be completely descheduled. I think it should be not Schedule 1, 2, 3. I think it should be in a land of its own of a plant. And when you've got intoxicating properties, it needs to be appropriately labeled and limited to adults. And otherwise, grandma should be able to go get her CBD, CBG cream and rub it on. And we can educate people about, right? I mean, like all of the things.
Yeah.
But that's nuanced, and it takes time and it takes big picture, just being like, and in the meantime, we should all be able to grow a plant. So we just need to get it to the place where no one will face penalties for growing plants on the property that they own.
So how can just like private citizens engage in that? Like what would, as an attorney, how, not giving legal advice, but how would you encourage that type of protest without incriminating themselves?
I have no idea. I think it's going to take mass resistance. And I think it's going to take consequences of people saying, like I did, I'm willing to go to jail for this. Fucking come and take it. I dare you. And more veterans standing up and being like, this is my weed and this is my gun. Come and fucking take it.
Yeah.
So I will just say from a personal perspective, I used cannabis to come off of 25 years of opioids and barbiturates for endometriosis pain. If this becomes something that I can't get access to, my only option at this point is to relapse on pharmaceuticals that I probably wouldn't survive. So I take it very personally. And I just want to know, what do you think, how do you think it would be the best way to approach lawmakers to kind of change that perspective and remind them that the voters are putting them there and the voters want this?
Call them, right? Call them, write them, be noisy. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Run for office. If they ignore you, put your name on the ballot. If you're local, run. Like, flood them out in the primary. Get you and 5 of your stoner buddies to run on a local ballot and flood them out of the primary. And whatever their name is, you know, get a name that's kind of similar.
Oh my gosh. That's actually genius.
A similar name.
And hey, when you win, sorry, this light is bugging me. When you win, be prepared for the consequences of winning, right? Like, if you win, you got to freaking do the job.
Yeah.
So you had spoke earlier, you had said something that about weed laws distracting from some serious crimes. Can you expand on that? And one of the things I also want to add to that or ask you about is, I don't know if you heard about, it was like in July, the 200 men that were arrested, and they saved like 125 children in a child trafficking ring that hasn't got any publicity whatsoever.
I mean, we have busts like that all the time. But I don't know about, I'm not aware any specifically to start at the back and then go forward. Okay. And then sorry, what was the first question?
Sorry. So you were just saying that, like, we're taking away from, you had mentioned earlier, taking away from, when we're going after cannabis, we're taking away from actual real crime.
Yeah. Okay. So like, look, I only have so much budget. Okay. And so every dollar I spend having to decide if those chocolate bars are marijuana under the penal code is something I don't get to spend on, like oil field theft or rape or murder or something else that everyone actually wants me to prosecute.
Yeah.
And it's time and resources of the court and law enforcement and the jail. And inevitably what ends up happening is the poorest and most vulnerable people get picked up with like a felony vape pen that no one knows if they bought it legally at the corner store or a dispensary or across the border in New Mexico. Like there's all kinds of arguments, legal arguments that are to be made, but and DPS can't reliably test it because when they test it, they heat it, and we all know about decarboxylation, right? Like, okay, you're changing chemical properties, and it's not that you can't test it, it's that the testing is designed to be in batches, like Chastity was talking about, of like, yeah, when you make a 10,000 vape pens, you go and you do a very detailed, expensive test on a demonstrative sample, and you make sure that you're in compliance, and then you fill everything. You don't take each of those and go do a bullshit $500 test.
Yeah.
Or like $50 test, whatever, like,
yeah,
like, these are and so it's not that you can't regulate it. You absolutely can regulate it. We're doing it. We've been doing it. They've been doing it in California since 2016. Like, again, it's not that we can't, it's that our legislatures are refusing to. Why are they refusing to? Because the people that they listen to, AKA the people who pay them money, like, so we either need to go win the lottery, or you need to be noisy, or you need to run against them. Like, those are the only options.
Yeah.
So my next question was, what are the bigger crimes? And specifically, that is one of the biggest things that I think is a huge problem in the state of Texas. I live in Amarillo, which is, I have I-40 going east and west, and then we have I-27 going north and south. We are one of the biggest cities in the country for sex trafficking because of those two major highways that go through our city. And I think that as a woman who has children, that's something that I'm very, very passionate about, is like, why are we not stopping sex trafficking?
Yeah.
Why is this not the number one thing on our
and we could do a whole episode on what I'm learning about the nuances of the difficulties of that, right? Like, so for example, I've got a girl that was 14. She was living with her aunt. Her mom was a drug addict. Her dad was, like, these aren't people with great families and lives, right? You get to stuff, vulnerable people. And then she meets a 37-year-old man on the internet who drives in from California, picks her up. He's got a trunk full of drugs and like zip ties and like all of the nightmare scenarios you can think. He takes her to San Antonio for a week into like a drug-induced sex frenzy with like all of the things. And her family doesn't want her. She's now, I think, living in a group home. I'm having to figure out, how am I going to prosecute a case where I can't really get a victim? Like, victims that show up in an I Heart Hot Dad shirt to their victim interview, right? Like, a lot of times the girls, 14, 15-year-old girls, they don't think they're victims. They are, but they don't see themselves as that, right? And so, and a lot of the abuse that I see is actually dad, uncle, grandpa, preacher, teacher, police officer, coach, trusted. Like, that's what we should be talking about. And no one wants to talk about that. Like 1 in 3 women, right, are going to be victims of some sort of sexual abuse. And of that, I think like 80 or 90% know they're perpetrators, right? So I don't know. Yes, these are the things we should be talking about. These are the resources. Like, these are the things that we should be, instead we're having, or the floods, right? Like this legislative session, the floods was an issue, and it's not a simple issue. And it's not just like it's devastating to me as a mom to think that there may not be any place left on earth where a kid can go away and get away from electronics.
Yeah.
Like, are we really to the place where we're going to make it so that they literally can't get away because of the guise of safety of a terrible flood? I mean, no, unpopular opinion, right? But it's like, these are the conversations that should be spending. We should be able to grow a plant. We should be able to run our businesses and our lives. We should be able to have the government stay out of it for the most part. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
We appreciate what you're doing.
This was like, this was probably like my easiest interview. Like, you, I just like agree with everything.
Oh my goodness.
So are you doing anything in the future? Do you plan
what's the plans?
Man, I'm just trying right now. I've got 3.5 more years of this commitment, right? And I mean, if you'd asked me 4 years ago was I ever running for office? Hell no, y'all. Like I was getting naked on pump jacks, right? Like no, I was not living my life in a way of someone that would seek higher office. And I do think like the one good thing that Trump has done is he's like opened up the ability from anybody to just fucking do it and say it. What are you going to do about it?
Literally anybody.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So
literally.
And
There's nothing stopping anybody at this point. If you have the time and you have the mental fortitude, please run for office. Run for anything. School board. Run for your church board. Like, start somewhere. Just run, please. We need our neighbors in office.
Or if you're a weird hobbit, you know, like go get involved in the party, right? Be a precinct chair. Pick a party. What party is in control where you're in, right? Like go figure it out. And there will be ways to identify with whoever, like pick a topic and a thing that you can be intellectually honest on and identify with. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, like, and if good people don't continue to speak out, then we lose. But I do think that we're at this moment in time, this really kind of moment in history where I'm a nobody from nowhere, but I'm pretty smart and I have good tits. And that lets me now open doors. And the key is to not have secrets, right? Like it used to be, you couldn't have a past. You couldn't be a human. You couldn't have ever had an affair. You couldn't have ever, like, man, I've been married twice. I'm still legally married. I'm living in sin with a man consensually who's also living in sin, because guess what? The government shouldn't be involved in our daily lives. And we love each other and we want our kids to have happy, healthy, and we like vacation together and everybody's fine. And it's just like, that would have been unheard of even probably 10 or 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like a Republican, Christian. You know, like that's me, and it's messy, and I'm not perfect, and I'm a sinner like everybody else. And you know, I wish more people would just own their own stuff, and not be ashamed, and just be willing to be like, I'm not a perfect person, but I'm better than that asshole, right?
For sure.
And I'm at least honest about my shortcomings, and I'm at least willing to have a difficult conversation. And our kids are going to need water to drink. And I'd like for them to have clean air to breathe. And I'd like for the government to not be micromanaging them. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's just, it's deep. There's some deep stuff. But I am hopeful that we are in this moment of time where technology and all the things are going to, you know.
It definitely feels like something's happening. It feels like people are finding their voice, and at least I know with me, like ask me a year ago if I would be doing any of this shit, I'd be like, fuck no, man. Like I'd be here in my little office, you know, recording a video that probably is gonna get one view on YouTube. You know, like this is a weird moment in time, and it is definitely unique. I love it though. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
People are applying, like you can see it in real time. Like people are quoting George Orwell and like saying, okay, here's the blueprint for this. Here's how we avoid this. And you can see the rebellion starting to grow, and you can see people starting to look at people as people and not a letter in front of your name. Like, I think that we are starting to become Americans again, as opposed to one side versus the other that's been pitted against each other. I think we're starting to wake up, and it feels really badass.
Yeah, it's like us versus the oligarchy.
For sure.
I mean, that's what it is. It's like, look, back when Democrat used to be working man, and it's like, no, you know, like, where did that go? Now it's like, now you get all this. You look, it's like the plumbers, and they're waving Trump flags. Like,
I know.
Yeah, like what was Connor's name from Roseanne, the husband? He was what was he, a painter? Goodman? Yeah, he was a painter, like, and he was like a hardcore Democrat from Chicago in the 90s. You know, that was a 90s Democrat.
That was the working class guy.
For sure.
And I think both parties have gotten so far away from it. It's hard to, as a regular person, say that you align 100% with one side or the other. I can't. Like, I'm a progressive Democrat because I have to be, but I don't feel like the way that I just don't align with either side of it. I'm more concerned with the fact that none of these people are doing what I want them to do. They're just waiting on their checks from APAC or whoever it's going to come from. Like, I'm a Democrat, and I'm really mad that these people would rather cash a check from APAC than consider a candidate that wants to provide free buses. Like, what the hell is happening that you can't see that it's humanity that's making these decisions? We are the human beings who have to deal with this. We've got to get back to what is going to be most beneficial in our day-to-day lives and stop worrying about a party affiliation. I would vote for you, Sarah. I would vote for you for governor right now, this freaking second. I would vote for you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tits or not.
No, but seriously, I think America really needs to get its independence back. Independence with a T. Independence. Because I think
make America free again.
Yes, for
right?
sure. And I think actually I know, I don't even gotta look it up, but the vast majority are either centrist, moderate, or some kind of variation of that, and they don't even know it. They just, for some reason, they see a bright red light or a bright blue light, and they're attracted to it, like mosquitoes. Like it's I think we need to re-educate the population.
I think it has something to do with tradition. Like, I was raised as a Republican, like it was my religion. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
For sure.
Part of our identity, right? Like it was something our parents talked about at the dinner table.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong Republican. Like, we value small government, personal responsibility, fiscal responsibility. Like, and really, we're more classic liberals. If you like, libertarian type, like, is actually more of what now. My mom and that side of the family very much is God-fearing, right? Super religious. But we were always taught that you can't legislate morality, that we answer to God only, and that we should be making the right you can't legislate morality. You really can't. And cannabis falls into that, I think, type of personal freedom. Adults, yes, we all know it can be intoxicating. And adults should have the free liberty to choose that and get it safely as they want. And there's lots of benefits, like, for epilepsy and like true medical things for other types of patients. And unfortunately, I think you've just had for years and years this reefer madness stigma that the boomers that are still in office, and until these guys are gone. But like, as long as the Nancy Pelosi's and the Donald Trumps and like
the Dan Patricks.
Sorry guys, ain't shit changing. Like
I can remember getting the weed talk when I was like 13 or 14 years old. My grandparents raised me, and I'd been at my mom's house, and I'd come home for the weekend, and they're giving me the weed talk and telling me, you're gonna die. If you smoke this stuff, you'll die. And I'm sitting here going, I'm high right now.
And I'm not dead. Or maybe I am. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I mean, and my parents never used it, but they also didn't lecture me about it. And I experimented with it pretty young and was like, oh yeah. But it was not a gateway drug for me, right? Like, I didn't try any other drug until my 30th birthday in New Orleans when I was living there. And I was very drunk at the end of the night and tried a little tiny bit of cocaine off of someone's hand and was like, oh, I mean, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know, so.
This is what Al Pacino was all upset about.
Like, dang, y'all like this? This is expensive for nothing.
Effect, if that's what happened.
I probably what?
You probably have something called biphasic effect.
Oh.
Yeah. Biphasic effect is opposite effect. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if
like
you try
stimulant will make you
actually calms you down, you probably have ADHD.
Yeah, no, I do definitely do. Yeah.
Aw. That's a real shitty way to find out.
But then we talk about things like this, and let's be real here, that here comes my inner scientist. If we are talking about something like that, right, and somebody starts using cocaine because it's benefiting them, it's calming down their ADHD, and you have not diagnosed them with ADHD, you diagnose them with anxiety and depression and all of these other things that would be comorbid with ADHD, and you end up getting somebody gets addicted to something like that later will probably end up into meth or some other harder drug. And the actual gateway drug was not the cannabis that started it, was the lack of diagnosis and medical care that started it, because these people are self-medicating themselves into these drug addictions. And I will argue all day long that that's how drug addictions normally will manifest, is because of people self-medicating. That
and
THC is not. Yeah, THC is not a gateway drug. It has never been a gateway drug. It was back in the 1920s. Cannabis or marijuana was used as a racial slur. It has not been defined as anything. We used it to incarcerate Mexicans and Black people, and we never defined it as anything on the schedule list. If we go on there and look today, it's even spelt in a racist way. It's spelled MARHUIA.
Yeah, MARIHUANA.
Yeah.
Without the J.
Yeah, it's spelled with an H because that's how a white person would sound out marijuana, but marijuana is actually spelled with a J. Like, the whole racist thing is just right there, blatant. There is it doesn't say it's the cannabis sativa L plant. It doesn't say anything. It just says marijuana and marijuana extract. So we've used this to, and you know this, people go to jail for it. You're putting them in jail for possession of a controlled substance. You're not putting them in jail for possession of marijuana when we can't define what marijuana is, right? Yeah. So the whole reason that we even have this word as a controlled substance is still stupid, and we still can't get out of this mentality. And then we've got other things that are happening today where extreme racism is being endorsed and promoted and okay, and that's not going to help get marijuana off of a Schedule 1 list.
And
right?
From a taxpayer's perspective, this all sounds very wasteful.
Right? Think about, we could instead,
for sure.
That's what we could be doing. We could be legalizing it, regulating it, taxing it.
Oh my God, such a concept. Such a wild concept. You know, you were talking about dick measuring earlier, right? Between Abbott and Dan Patrick. I thought I just made a connection. So on Monday, Dan Patrick, he like opened up some kind of religious freedom event. And I just think it's interesting that Dan Patrick did that with Trump, and then the following day, Abbott announces that he's going to sign this executive THC order. Like the following morning, the next morning, he announces that. So yeah, for sure, that was a dick measuring contest. Jesus.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah, or the head of a Senate who, gets vetoed.
Oh my God.
I mean,
we need to elect women. We need to elect women.
Yes,
because we don't have dicks to measure, so there's that.
Right.
You got tits.
So there was something I wanted to ask you about. I had a note.
Okay, off topic, but actually it's right on topic. Are you an indica or a sativa girl?
Ooh.
I actually don't think there's necessarily that much of a difference. I think it's actually more of the terpenes.
Yes. The terpenes are the difference between indica and sativa.
I swear to God, the two of you have at some point had one brain cracked and split into two different skulls. Like
there's one that tastes like diesel to me, that I don't like, that makes me sleepy. And but yeah, generally, like, my favorites have actually, over the years, I think have actually been technically hybrids.
Okay.
And I really am more of a I want all of the full spectrum. I'm not chasing the 28% THC. Like, I'd much rather a teens THC and all the things. Those are my favorites.
So are you like a lemony, piney, citrusy person, or more of a skunky, cheesy, gassy person?
No, I'm more of the first.
I told you, that's by basic effect.
You guys are
Like
sommeliers.
sativa dominant hybrids.
Yeah.
Me too. Those are my favorite. Those are great.
Yeah, like
They
there's my favorite that I've ever had actually was in Hawaii in 2002. And they
Damn.
called it a something cookies.
Girl Scout cookies?
No, it was like some Hawaii, grower or something. His grandma's cookies or something. But that was the best weed I've ever had. And then a close second actually was in Oklahoma. And that one was they called it a blue cookies. They've both been cookies.
Okay.
So maybe it's just in my head at this point, but
whenever I use hybrids, I try to get something with cookies in it because cookies works for my endometriosis pain.
there you go. And if it helps with like my shoulder, where I hold all of my stress and
loosen up a little bit. Like once it's just relaxes. It's very nice.
I also have some really great ideas that pop into my head, like getting naked on a pumpjack.
Hey, we need to send this woman cartons of this stuff because it has been helpful. So, do you have any new stunts planned?
No, I don't. I just have pedophiles to put away for the next few weeks.
Let's keep doing it. Oh, I just want to read you a headline real quick from Lubbock. So that story we were talking about, this is out of Lubbock. FBI in Dallas announced that 244 offenders across Texas, including some from Lubbock, were arrested in an operation aimed at rescuing children from child exploitation. And there was 109 children that were rescued.
Sweet.
Yeah, 109 children.
Yeah, but just so you guys know, that's happening all the time. So NCIC,
like that number.
Well, yeah, like every day. I mean, so people are dumb, and they look at this stuff and they can't help themselves, and they're not anonymous, and all of the providers, everyone is on the lookout for it's CSAM is what they call it, child sexual assault material. And luckily the AI's gotten good enough that you can get it and pretty much verify it and only have to have like one guy at the final end once all of the stuff's been connected to look at it and say, yes, that's what it is. And it needs to be like, I still haven't had to view it yet. Right. I've had dozens of cases, but we have great law enforcement and I understand the process Ted gets through. It's like, well, when I see something like 6-year-old girl and it's describing like what she's doing with her game controller, for example, is like one that I saw. And it's like, okay, yeah, I don't need to physically view that. Right. I understand what that's depicting.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's so, the footprint's so unique and the way, like they got them. There's no way, they can't lie. They can't cheat. They can't get out of it. And so we're putting these guys away. And even in the worst case scenarios, we're getting them on plea deals and getting them on terms where like they're having to check in. They're like, you know what I mean? And I think the key is getting them in check and not letting it advance because things escalate, right? And it starts with visual and then it goes to actual real victims.
Yeah.
So I have a question about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should ask this or not. Are the amount of people that are getting caught doing this, are they Americans?
It's everyone. It is old, young, white, black, Hispanic. Yeah. Illegal, legal, it's
everybody.
Now I will say that actually a lot of the children, so there's a whole separate side that the feds do of trying to locate the actual victims in the depictions. And a lot of those kids are, especially if they're white, they're Eastern European, and they're not domestic. And so when they're not domestic, there's nothing that we can do about that. But you've got AI now that's creating this whole new.
That's also really scary.
Genre, right? But now if they, like I saw a description the other day where a real life child actor, someone had modified with AI to look like CSAM, and that is still a crime because
that was my next question.
It is a misleading representation where you're viewing it. And so now I think what's grayer is if it's just a rando, right? Like if it's
Like AI
random,
created.
an AI descript creating. I think it still applies, but then it almost becomes victimless. And it's not victimless because the AI had to train on something.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so, but legally speaking, I think we're getting into some areas that are going to be difficult areas to navigate legally. And it's just a matter of, again, doing things the right way. And yeah.
So we need laws
Yeah.
to prevent that from being somebody that skates through that. That's not
because
right.
Even if it's not
get in front of it, right? Because these are the issues that I'm seeing of like, okay, because there's questions I'm asking, like, how do we know this? How do we know this?
Yeah.
Not because defense has argued it yet or because it's come up in front of a jury, but because I just want to make sure that we're making good law and that we're not taking cases and getting convictions that are going to be overturned or that are unlawful under the Constitution, right? Like, it's just,
I think my concern, like as a mom and as a survivor, my concern would be if you can catch someone who is just watching AI versions of that type of content, then perhaps you could offset the risk of them moving to verifiably real humans.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a way to limit it, right? Like I don't think you could ever say, oh, I've only ever viewed AI.
Yeah.
Like,
which the whole point is, like, even still, whether you're watching AI or the real thing, your brain is still consuming that product as that thing. So you are still realistically committing a crime.
Yes, like, no, I agree with you 100%. I'm just not sure. I haven't had to prosecute that yet.
The legal, the legal aspect is there definitely seems like there could be like ways around or ways to defend it somehow, but we just gotta get it. We just gotta catch every single one. That way, it's out there that nobody's gonna take any fucking bullshit anymore. Because it's getting ridiculous to the point where people are actually defending pedophiles, and I don't understand how we fucking got here.
Openly,
we got here because there has been so much generational abuse that people don't understand. It's not normal for adults to touch children that way. It's not normal for adults to fantasize. Like, children are built like children so that we are not sexually attracted. Like, there's a reason kids smell like kids. And, like, there's all these things, right? Biologically speaking, you know. And then you have
syrup all the time. Yeah.
This is what distinguishes us from goats. Like, I've got goats that, like, you know, yes, understand Billy Goat, that she is there. She is 8 months old. She cannot successfully carry a child yet, right? Yeah. And that's biologically what our bodies are meant to do. And as a society, we have to say at the same time that this is why 15-year-old girls can't consent. I don't care if she begged you for it. Don't care.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Because when I was 15, man, we had Coach Utley, and I was telling we had this hot coach that was 20 something. We sexually harassed that man relentlessly. We were like, "Oh, coach, you know, punish us. We've been so bad." And thank God he was like a grown man of integrity, and we didn't know what we were talking. I absolutely did. You know, I thought I wanted to make out with Coach Utley. I really did not want Coach Utley. I did not know what I was asking for, and thankfully, but you know, horny 17-year-old Sarah, when a 28-year-old man had, I probably Matthew McConaughey, you know, like, been all times. But that's why we have these rules in place. We don't, because we can't make those decisions. Our brains, like, and I'm thinking back, and I'm just like, thank God they protected little Sarah, that I didn't have to deal with that, right? And now I can see these young girls who have had their dads and their uncles and their grandpas violate these, what God gave them as these men to protect them, right? And I'm a firm believer, men are either protectors or predators. They're not, they're one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% could not agree more. Please run for governor. Have I said that?
Yeah, maybe, and maybe in like 8 or 10 years, maybe.
Are you gonna govern the apocalypse? Come on.
Govern the apocalypse. That's what it's gonna feel like if we don't get shit together.
But no, we should do this again. How you guys you do this every like a couple times a month, right? Or a couple times a week.
We do it a couple times a week.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Kudos.
Thank
we
you.
we want to have every person that is running in Texas on this show for anything you're running for. We want you on this show.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's
Have you had any other electeds that you've been able to convince? Yeah.
We had
Yes,
Christina Morales.
and Anna
Any
Maria.
other Republican electeds?
No,
No,
we
we
have a hard time finding Republicans.
we can't find Republicans.
Yeah, no.
Everybody's
It's
scared
like,
of
it's
us.
like they don't want to run for anything. I mean, I don't know why people
Unless
don't
they're
wanna run.
holding off to like the last minute to I have no idea
Well, they
why.
probably just already know. Like, literally, it's a game, right? And you just know.
You're like, damn, we're not gonna have a chance.
Once you're on this side of it and run enough and are smart enough, you know how things are going to go. Like,
Yeah.
if you know how they've historically voted in the past, and it's all determined in the primaries, right? So if anybody, the takeaway I think for today is participate in the primary process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And however that looks, if you're somebody that can run and get in front of the camera and talk, do it. If you, like I said, if you're a Hobbit troll and go work in the party,
Get behind that person.
Yeah, get behind somebody. That
volunteer,
right? Like,
yeah,
there's ways to
volunteer
help.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have tried really hard to find Republicans, and it's just not.
They don't want to talk.
I think that a lot of Republicans are a lot more blue collar workers. Like, you can't just you can't just quit your job and run for office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you quit your job, you definitely don't have the money to run for office. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a lack of opportunity for working people, whether you're Democrat or Republican, but specifically like where I live, most everybody is a Republican here, and almost everybody is at or below poverty level. Working 2 to 3 jobs plus kids. There's just no way. It's just impossible.
Well, yeah, and if you're running for like a house seat, right? What's the pay? Like $7,800 a year.
Yeah.
And see, that's the other thing that we need to really start getting noisy about is the amount of money it costs to run for office. How are we ever supposed to get normal people in these seats if it costs you $100,000, $500,000, $1 million to run for a local office, a state office? We're always going to end up with these oligarchs in these seats because they're the only ones who can afford them. So we need to legislate against the cost of elections.
Yep. Well, and so the next big issue is making sure that primaries stay open and not closed, right?
No.
Like,
For sure.
Hi, frustrated Democrat here.
Yeah.
Right. And there's both sides of the aisle that would like to see it closed. They won't say it openly.
Yeah.
But don't give because especially if they can go to like, just like a convention, right? Where they're ballot access, right? Like there's a large faction of people that are like, we don't want a primary, right? We want the convention only. Like libertarians are in this nice little sweet spot, right? They don't have to have a primary. And that's fun. Like if you actually start looking at the laws about how to get a new party, and if you have somebody run for statewide office and they end up getting 20% of the vote, then you have to have a primary the next cycle. So like if you ever wanted to get really crazy, you could get a third party candidate with a lot of money that ran for a statewide office that could get name recognition and pull 20%, and you'd automatically have a new party on the ballot. And then you'd get to
nice.
They'd be on any ballot they wanted. You could have candidates for that party.
All right, what's the Powerball at?
That's essentially what Ross Perot did, right?
He ran as an independent.
Okay.
Yeah. And JFK was running as an independent and spent, I don't know, 10 or 15 million dollars in Texas before he pulled the plug. Like it's fun money.
That's insane.
It's just like people that are playing, it's a billionaire's playground, right? And we are just never going to compete at that level. So you just, it's like the movie Moneyball. You can't win the Yankees without a Yankees budget playing Yankees ball. You have to play a different game. So that's what we're doing. That's what
I
I'm
also
doing.
think though that we're in this very unique time where the people understand, like we were saying earlier, that this is not left or right, it's us versus them, it's right versus wrong. And I think if there were ever a time for an independent to break through without a lot of money and working really, really hard at making sure that they're talking to people, I think that this would be the time.
For sure. And in a smaller race, right, it's just about getting the signatures to get ballot access.
Yeah.
But you have to plan on both parties, if you're going to run as an independent, are going to challenge your signatures. So you need to plan and like assume 50% of your signatures are going to get tossed. So you need to like double up your signatures. And for a statewide race, it's like over 100,000 signatures, right? I mean, it's crazy. I really looked at the math and the numbers of this, and it's intriguing. I mean, it's exciting. And there are ways with our existing laws to play the game.
Yeah.
But you just have to be smart and figure out, okay, at what point in time do you run those routes?
I think too, that's a lot of what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast, is just being able to get the faces in front of voters, because the publicity around elections in Texas is so minimal. They don't want us to show up to vote. They don't want us to know when the elections are happening. They don't want you to know who's on the ballot. They don't want you to know what your issues are. They just want you to say yes, thank you, and go on about your business. And so you're trying to profile as many candidates as possible and get them in front of as many Texans as possible, so that you at least know the face of the person who's trying to represent you.
Yeah. And you guys should look into doing a PAC. Right? Like if you did a PAC, then you could get people who want to be able to support candidates but are afraid of their name being tied to the money. So you could just be a cannabis PAC, and you accept donations and you give to candidates who support cannabis, bottom line.
Not Sarah altering our business model. Live on air.
So I really enjoyed this conversation with you. I really don't want to be done, but I know you probably have other stuff to do. So there's something that we do at the end of every podcast, and we ask you a question that the guest before you left for you. And your question was, what is your superpower? That was left for you by Anna Maria. What's her last name?
Ramos.
That's a good one. I would say it's my fearlessness. Right? Of like, my give a fuck is broken, and it's me, it's God, I'm doing my thing, I've got my people. Like, it makes me pretty unstoppable. And so I think if more people would channel that, the world would be a lot better of a place.
Stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
There's a great book. I can't remember what it's like. There's a great book about that. I didn't make
the art of giving
the subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's a great book.
It is a good book. It's a great book.
I mean, my fucks had already been gone by the time I read it, but I was like, yes, preach, boy. Like,
yeah.
I submit.
Do you have a question that you want to leave for the next guest?
Yeah, let's see.
What was
if you could give yourself one piece of advice when you were graduating high school, like what would that piece of advice be?
That's a good one.
Good one.
All right, I'm writing it down, Chastity.
Yes, thank you. Every week, whenever we're fixing to do it, I'm like, what was the question from last week? Go back and watch the last episode.
Well, thank y'all for having me.
Sarah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for your advocacy. Seriously, keep fighting.
It's definitely a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad that we finally got a Republican who, not even just a Republican who is real. Because that's, I think that's like my biggest thing too, is like when I meet these people, they're just all so fake.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your authenticity.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And I think it's just a matter of keeping, as you get into positions of power, keeping people around you that will call you on your BS and make sure that you don't lose touch, because the science shows inevitably you get into power, and after about 25 years you just kind of have lost all touch of reality of what it's like to not have that. So,
which is why we shouldn't have career politicians.
Exactly. It should be a temporary active service, not a career choice.
For sure. We'll definitely try to do this again. We're gonna go ahead and just end the stream right now, but if you want to hang out for a little bit, we'll we'll be here. But as far as everything else, see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.